How is it going, everybody? Just doing kind of an impromptu live stream here. Just give me one sort of second here just to get this set up over here on YouTube. And just thought it'd be fun to sort of rank the Wheel of Time episodes. I mean, why not? All right. Let me just see if I can't change the thumbnail here. I'm sure we will have some people joining shortly, but yeah, just thought it'd be fun to sort of come in here and see everybody's thoughts. Which episodes did you like? Which episodes did you not like? Um, because I think I think we all definitely gonna have differing opinions on which episodes we did like. Excuse me, and which episodes we did not like. Also, I did get this sick new shirt straight out of the Two Rivers, so that's definitely fun. But yeah, so just gonna hang out and do sort of a ranking of the episodes. So looks like we're all good to go there. So yeah, so we're just gonna be hanging out, talking which episodes did we like, which episodes did we not like, and I think I'm even gonna make one of those ranker tier list things so we can get this going here and see which episodes you did like, which episodes you did not. We're definitely all gonna have differing opinions on it. I uh think I'm in the group where I was not particularly fond of the season finale. Did not Can't say that I was particularly cared about the season finale all that much, but definitely did like some of the other episodes. So excuse me. We'll take your I want to get your guys' thoughts in here too. Just see what everybody thought. What all did we think about which episodes did you like, which episodes did you not? So give me one second here and we'll get this going. Get that going there, get that going there. Make a tier list. Get rid of this. How's everyone doing tonight? By the way. This obviously sort of impromptu live stream. So just thought it'd be fun to time books. We won't. Here we go. Wheel of Time, season 1, episode 1. Share screen. So, okay. Now that we got that up, we got that going. Let me come over here and get this set up, and then we will get going here, guys. One second here. Okay. I have music playing in the background. I hope it's not Hope it's not playing. Let me just remove that and then play it, put it on here again. Okay. Throw them all in the bottle and call it a day. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely have some interesting thoughts by the way on this. Let me move that over here and then move this here cuz I jotted down some general thoughts to be honest uh about this. Let me just maneuver some things around on my screen here. So, okay. So, diving in here. And I was thinking about maybe even doing this in sort of like a just best to work, but I think I'm even gonna rank them like if I have one as an S tier, an A tier, B, C, D, whatever. Um, so do we want to go from what I think is worst to first, or should we go with the episodes in order? I think maybe we'll just go with worst to first. So by far the worst episode. And I'm gonna change this to this is a D here, but I'm gonna change this to trash. Because that's honestly what I feel about the final episode. I genuinely feel like the final episode is bad. Like a 4 out of 10 bad. There's just no other way really, I feel, in order to get around it. It's the only episode that I just did not enjoy. Even on a second watch, and I'm now actually working my way through it again just to kind of watch the season at a whole. I feel like it's a pretty flawed episode, right? As a book reader, there's just way too much cut, misplaced, unscripted changes. They waste time talking about Lord Agamar and Lady Amalisa's armor only for her to then just die in it. And that whole scene is like 3 minutes. It's like 3 minutes long. You could use those 3 minutes to talk a little bit more about the Dark One, to talk a little bit more about I don't know, anything. You could give Lan, you could literally just show Lan running through the ways or the blight as he's racing to Moraine and he runs past his ancestral home, right? Malkier, which is, covered by the blight. Like you could just show that instead and you could achieve the same thing. Then, as I'm rewatching the series right now, uh I just rewatched episode 1 today, which is actually one of my favorite episodes of the season, and I actually think it was good. There's a part in season 1 or episode 1, excuse me, where the women start attacking the Trollocs. Okay, great. And they're talking about the oh, that's lame. Oh, no, go back. Where was that? Oh, it must be some sort of ad on tier list or whatever. Okay. So there's a part in episode 1 where the women start attacking the Trollocs, which is great. They're talking about, they're talking about like, hey, the women of this town are going to take you on. Okay, cool. Which is the theme of the whole season, like women, like empowering women, and the Aes Sedai and all of that stuff. I'm there for it. It's great. But then in episode 8, there's a part where they're talking about the men are going to go defend Tarwin's Gap, and the women are going to stay back and hold Fal Dara, because they need every woman to man catapults and ballistas and hold the city down. And then we're going to get the women who can channel. Well, turns out you didn't even need the women in the city. You just needed the women who could channel because they just nuke all the Trollocs. So why did they show that? That actually kind of takes away, the way I view it, from the buildup of women being important in episode 1. So I did not like it. Um, some other things, and there are a few things I did like here, but another big thing that I just did not like with episode 8, and it's why it's by far my lowest of the season. To where it's the only one I actually feel like was a bad episode, where I'm actually like, I don't know about this. was they did the fake death thing again. They actually did it twice in this episode, and it was just a bit much, especially because we already saw Nynaeve super heal everyone in episode 4, and then you're doing it with Egwene to heal Nynaeve, and it's just so much. It was overdone. I felt like they were just doing it to have shock value for shock value's face, for shock value. We also see Padan Fane, who he is sort of hinted at, but throughout the season with like you'll hear whistling, but the actor's not in really any scene except for that one kind of hidden, you miss it if you don't catch him in episode 5, and then you see him just walking by you, but you don't really know he's a bad guy. Like you would forget it. So the like non book readers are going to be like are lost. It went away over their head. So you could have spent time throughout the rest of the season changing things, altering things, and building him up as well as the Dark One. So, I mean, it was cool seeing Padan Fane steal the horn, but there wasn't enough build up to it, because so much of the season one's focus is who is the dragon. They didn't focus on a lot of the other things that felt like they should have paid off in this episode. So, I mean, is that a criticism of this episode, or is that a criticism of, I guess, other episodes? But ultimately, I felt like it didn't connect well in this episode, and then lands off like doing who knows what he's doing. There are a few things I did like in this episode, though. I definitely like the Lan Nynaeve's relationship. I thought that they're continuing to build that. I'm genuinely enjoying that. Speeding it along from the books, which I actually think is a good thing, and I'm fine with them doing. Then you have we got more Rand in this episode, which was good. I definitely think finally getting some Rand in the episode was a good thing. I mean, obviously the episode's going to be about him, but also I like that we got it. I did kind of like that we introduced Lews Therin, but again, I still feel like you didn't build him up enough to make that scene sort of have the impact that it should have, and it just kind of again goes over people's heads. I feel like this episode did a lot of, because a lot of the people a lot of friends who I have who are just obviously show watchers only, know nothing about the books, are like, you need to explain some things. So I think that was a problem with this episode. I can give them probably a little bit of a pass, which I still think this for episode for me is like a 4 out of 10, with Barney Harris being gone, but that's ultimately where I'm at for this one. So it's what I think is the worst episode of the season. It's really the only episode that I didn't really like and thought was bad. The rest of the episodes I genuinely enjoyed, and I like, again, right, MJ Daniel right here. I give the season as a whole a 7, room for improvement. Like that's right where I'm at too. Genuinely enjoyed the season. So even though I'm being kind of negative on this one episode, I'm not negative on the whole thing. I just wasn't particularly fond of that episode. So then honestly, I was putting this list together today, and I was like, man, I could really move a lot of stuff around in how I sort of felt about it, and rewatching the season today too. Rewatching the season and getting to see, sorry, this ad keeps doing this thing. Getting to rewatch the season, I can begin to see, oh, here's a thread that they had that did carry over till later. Like going back and rewatching episode 1, now with the knowledge of episode 8, there's actually a lot more of the Perrin Egwene like relationship hinting at, or at least him having feelings for her, that I've now picked up on going back. Again, is this meant for people who are going to binge the show over and over again, or is this meant for people who are just going to watch it one time through? So, but it is interesting going back. So at least some of those threads are there. So, okay. So what I have as my number 7, and this is where I don't know, I kind of go back and forth on this one, but for me, I have episode is that episode 4? Sorry, I have it on my time. Yeah, The Dragon Reborn. So episode 4 for me was good. There were some things I liked in episode 4. Um, the reason I guess I have it as my second worst, but it's like episode 8 is like bad and then everything else is good. Episode 4 for me, I'll start with the bad, then I'll get to the good. Episode 4 to me, it focused quite a bit on the Aes Sedai. We're at the camp with Logain. I did think the opening was really cool. I like that we're actually exploring Logain more. I do think that's actually a I do actually think that that's a good sort of change, just expanding his role, getting to see him use the power. I thought that sort of explaining the male side to the power and why the Aes Sedai are like not frightened of it or certainly want to control it was good. The fake death scene here pays off far more than the fake deaths in episode 8 because it's the first time it happens, and we get to see Nynaeve, blow up, go Super Saiyan, essentially, as everyone's spirit bomb, right? As everyone's saying, was definitely cool. We got to begin the politics of Liandrin with Moraine, which I thought was cool. I guess my only sort of downside, the only downside I really had with this episode was that Perrin and Egwene to me basically got lost. They talked about the Way of Leaf just a little bit, but it was like so condensed, it felt like it just got lost in the shuffle. This was the episode with Mat, Tom, and Rand, where we get like the Brigitte Silverbow little tie-in, Mat with the dagger. I thought that was cool, but again, it felt like the time was 60% Nynaeve, 30% Rand, Mat, that group, and then like 10% Perrin. So I feel like they could have I feel like they could have shifted, they could have balanced it out a little bit more. Yeah, you lost me saying 4 was the second worst. I don't know. I actually, again, I generally enjoy every episode but episode 8. I generally enjoy. And having rewatched the whole thing again, like as a whole, that's kind of where I'm at on this episode. I think now, like going back today and rewatching the whole season as a whole, for me, I felt like the other ones had a lot brighter, like for the whole episode, I guess is what I'm saying. Obviously, like the ending of this episode was really awesome, but I felt like as a piece of the whole season 1 puzzle, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, and a lot of people will have episode 4 as their favorite because they love Nynaeve and they loved her doing her thing. So next I'm going to have episode 5, which is Blood Calls Blood. This one, I don't know, do I put this as a B? I think I'm still going to leave it as a C, although I think this one had my favorite moment in the season. And for me it was and I'm looking at these as a whole episode, not just particular moments. Like if you had to rank like just particular moments from the season, well then the end of episode 4 it'd be towards the top because it's really good. But I feel like the whole episode combined. So let me move this here actually. So episode 5, Blood Calls Blood, I did have my favorite moment of the season, which was Perrin with the wolves. I love that we explored the White Cloaks more, built them up. I thought that was awesome. Getting to see the wolves come and attack again. Thought that was great. Just getting to like see that, and I like that the White Cloaks are just seeming menacing when he has Egwene in the chair and Perrin there, and he's like carving into her back. They're doing some very, very good villain building, which is weird. Thinking back about it, because I felt like the Dark One and Padan Fain as villains didn't, and even sort of did not get built up as well as say like Liandrin and the White Cloaks. Like they really got Liandrin and the White Cloaks down as villains, which was which was super cool. And this is where I'm at. Yeah. Getting to go to Tar Valon, the little Padon Fane tie-in, Rand saying he recognized the dragon, or he recognized Dragonmount, um, was cool, but rewatching the season today, I don't think they ever explained Dragonmount and why that mountain was important other than Rand's born there later, but they still haven't like explained that, oh, the dragon was created because of, this. So, yeah, my big issue with episode 5 was, although we did get introduced to Loyal, which is great. My big issue with episode 5 was the ending, and that we focused on Steppen, right? This guy who is a warder, and they really are playing up this sort of warder. They're building up this whole warder Aes Sedai connection, and it feels like, okay, we get to episode 5, and having spent time with it in episode 4, it's like, okay, this is going to be a big deal. And then like the importance of that just kind of like drops off, because then Moiraine starts cutting off her connection to Lan and masking it, and then it felt like it never mattered, right? So unless they're just setting it bigger stuff up for season 2, it's like, why spend a good part, half of an episode in season 1 focusing on Steppen, the warder who dies, when you could have spent time building the Dark One or Padon Fane as villains, Rand as potentially the dragon. I mean, there's just so much more I felt like they could have done with this episode, especially going back now that I can see it for what it is in the whole season. And I guess I'm just kind of curious as to why they decided to make that such a focus of an episode. So yeah, so unfortunately, and then the ending, the chest thumping, like when I watched it, the first time, it was kind of cool. Watching it again, it was less cool. And then also, they sort of say quickly that Lan is taking on the grief for everyone, but they didn't really like explain how that works or why that works. It's just kind of oh, okay, and it's said so fast that you can kind of miss it. And I felt like I don't know. The second time through, I didn't enjoy it as much. Again, parts of it I enjoyed. I loved Perrin with the White Cloaks and thought that was awesome. But I just felt like I just feel like the focus on this warder Steppen, when you could have spent, I mean, that's 20 minutes of an episode. You could have spent that on other stuff to build stuff up later. So that's kind of where I'm at with that one. Okay, so I have 3 up. So what's next? Okay, so from this point on, everything else is going to be like a B or higher, and I really enjoy everything else. And I really feel like you could honestly sort of piece it together however you want, and everyone's going to have different points for why they chose what they did. So so this would be my number, so 8, 7, 6. So this is my number 5. I have, and it's going to the B tier, which is episode 2, Shadows Waiting, which is the Shadar Logoth episode. Amazing opening with the White Cloaks cutting off the hands of yellow Aes Sedai. Like, they are, again, they really did the White Cloaks well and made them way more menacing than they feel in the book. So that was an immediate, second episode opening. Okay, these guys, things are getting serious already, and you're just being introduced to the White Cloaks. I thought Shadar Logoth was cool going there, getting to see everything. Moiraine is injured, which is obviously, kind of different the way they're doing that. Loved, really, genuinely did enjoy episode 2 with Shadar Logoth. The stuff along the way too, I thought was cool. getting to see Tarn Ferry sinking it was definitely cool. You start off and we're being chased by the Trollocs. Thought that all looked good. Then we get to the first dream of the Dark One with the bats coming out, as we've already been. They did a good job in sort of building that. I thought this had the best. I thought this was the best sort of lore dump with the Manetheren song, is to kind of set up, oh, where they came from is important. Because in episode 1, they talk about how there's Ta'Veren there. They haven't explained Ta'Veren yet, but okay, so when you're watching it for the first time, even as a non-book reader, I think you would find yourself saying, okay, there's definitely something going on with these people because they know this song from this ancient kingdom and it's important. So I thought that was good. I thought hold on, the fairy scene passes. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was cool. Just because they had shown them being chased by the Trollocs, and now we're getting that. And then it sort of shows you too, as they've already been building this idea a little bit in episode 1, and now they're building it here too, that maybe the Aes Sedai aren't supposed to be trusted. So now we just see Moiraine essentially kill somebody, and should we even trust these Aes Sedai? And then that plays into the episode later as well, where we're going to where Rand gets upset, should we even trust these people? And it ties into stuff later as well. So that's where I have episode 2. I thought the end thought the ending was cool, where they're racing the guy diving in the water, crazy. Yeah. Then we go there, we get to see the dagger, we get Moiraine waking up like, you've killed us. The darkness chases them, they get split up, and then Nynaeve finds Lan. So okay, so now I have 8, 7, 6, 5. So this is my 4. So for me, at number 4, I have episode 6, The Flame of Tar Valon. So again, everything here is just like is great. Good to great. So everything other than really the final episode. So episode 6, getting to see Siuan's backstory. I thought this was maybe the best like start to finish episode. There were really no sort of down times. I don't know that there was really a lot of stuff in this episode that was like had like such a wow factor for me, but just sort of across the board, it was all just good. We get Siuan's backstory. There's a lot of tower politics. Obviously, you get the, on your knees thing, right? You get to see Egwene and Perrin arrived at the tower. I liked Moraine's conversation with Nynaeve because she kind of told her off, right? And if you're a wisdom, perhaps you should use some. We get Moiraine pulling some of the darkness out of Mat, and we get the Oath Rod, which I don't know, it was cool. It felt a little sort of overdone to me, if I had to sort of say so. Moiraine tells Leandrinov, which was kind of cool, although then it never really went anywhere, but that could just be because of Barney Harris leaving, which could have, because they filmed those and then maybe they're on a set path, and then so 7 and 8 get kind of hit by that. And then we go to the Ways, right? We go to the Ways, everybody shows up, and then you get everybody entering the Ways except for Mat. So with like the knowledge of knowing that Barney Harris left, if you go back and watch the footage, like you can tell it's sort of redone. So for me, that kind of took it out of it just a little bit. But again, we're people who are, I'm sure everybody who's watching right now, we all know a little bit more than the average, show watcher only person who's checking this out. So I guess maybe for me, that's why I didn't place the episode higher, was that kind of took it just down a notch just a little bit for me. But nothing major in this episode, just kind of good start to finish. Um okay, so 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So top 3, I think you could really go in a lot of different different directions, right? And I I'm sure everyone's going to have different opinions um on these. So for me, episode 1 is my number 3. And I probably have this higher than some people, because I remember the first night people watching, everyone saying that they felt that the episodes got progressively better. But I don't know, rewatching it and everything, I just really loved episode 1. And I think it's just because it's the episode I've thought the most about going into this whole show. And it was like the one I was just most excited to see, just because, the idea of just those first sort of 10 chapters, reading it and just being awakened to, the world that Robert Jordan creates, and sort of just thinking about, what does the Two Rivers and Emmons Field look like? What does the Wine Spring Inn look like? And I really felt like a lot of the thoughts in your head envisioning these characters, a lot of it translated over pretty well for me. I loved the, Tam Althor, his just even his tiny little talk about the wheel, and like the pattern and spitting things out, and the lantern lighting, getting to see Padan Fain come in for the first time. Um you know from and I love what's his name, Michael McLaughton, I think is how you pronounce it. He plays Roose Bolton in Game of Thrones, and so also to see him go from playing a super villain to a great character was cool. And we were doing this live. We were watching the show. Well, no, actually, we didn't actually do a live stream the first time. Ezra did. I didn't. I watched them by myself, and so I think a lot of it is just the experience of, we've been waiting for this show for so long, and the excitement and getting to come in. I mean, I literally like stood up and was like fist pumping, let's go, when I saw Tam Althor pull out the heron marked blade on the Trolloc. And I loved it. The music, the lighting, everything was good. The only thing, I guess, if I had to just nitpick, and I'll nitpick every episode just a little bit, I do feel like, the CG on the Trollocs could be a little better. Um, but I mean, that's something you can fix later, and it's a pilot episode too, right? I mean, you know, I always say this. You won't find a bigger Game of Thrones fan than me, but go back and watch episode 1 of Game of Thrones with like Tyrion Lannister's beach blonde hair. Like, a pilot episode is never really truly indicative of a series. And I actually really enjoyed this pilot. But so again, just to be able to see it all, and it's just, I think the episode, you think about the most. And it was also the one that was, I think, pretty easy to call, right? It's pretty easy to sort of to call this episode as to predictions wise, because I think we were, all thinking of, we've been theorizing and speculating on it for months on the podcast and on here on YouTube, where it would end, and we all were on pretty much the same page. We're going to see, the Trollocs attack, and then we're going to leave. And that's exactly what happened. So a lot of this one for me I think is going to be just, even as the show just goes down, right? Just that sort of nostalgia, immediate, like, just thinking about, like, oh, hey, episode 1, like, watching it right once it came out, like the second it came out and everything. So um yeah, comment here. You really should consider 1 to 3 together, since they were released at the same time, and I presume most watch them back to back like myself. Yeah, and we did too. um but yeah, I think 1 for me was Well, it wasn't my favorite of those 3 because I have yet to put the other one up another one up there, from that block, but, yeah, so 1 I liked 1 more than 2, and just looking at my ranking, it's obvious that I liked 3 more than I liked 3 more than, 1. So, okay. So now the final 2. So I have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So my final 2 episodes. So I have episode 3 as my second favorite, which is A Place of Safety. And I guess that obviously lets you know that I have episode 7 as my number 1, which is the Ways episode. So I have episode 3 as my second favorite. I'll talk about this and then go to talk about episode 7 as what I think is the best episode of the season. Episode 3 for me did just so many things right. Again, as we were talking about here, comment right here on the screen, you should consider 1 to 3 together since they released at the same time. And they were. And so it was the finale of the night, right? And I thought it was great getting to see Tom Maryland, who's, who's one of my absolute most favorite characters in the series. Really, it's like Rand. I mean, obviously Rand's like my favorite, but then Matt and Tom are there as well. And I felt like this was really sort of Matt's episode as well as Tom's, and we got to begin to see what their relationship, would look like together with the Aiel man, even though they kind of have done Matt just a little different, really. He's kind of like much not I don't even say like down on his luck to have like a pun intended, but just darker. I don't know. It's just they really did kind of change it. But I think Barney Harris was great at Matt, and it's unfortunate we're not going to get to see how his character would transform going forward. But yeah, I really just really enjoyed all of the stuff with Tom Maryland. And then, I mean, how can you forget the ending, right? With Dana. My gosh. And our first time with a dark friend. And it just goes in a different direction than I think we were really thinking. And if you go back and watch it, you actually listen and pay attention to the things she's saying, it is that much better on a second watch because you're hearing like, oh yeah, she's talking about how she's wished that she could get out of here and she'd do anything to get out of here, but sometimes life just takes you, places you may not want to be. And so her as a dark friend, I thought was great. Yeah, medieval Mick Jagger. Not sure about the singing, but otherwise excellent. Yeah, I actually like the song, but I it's kind of raspy. I can get why I see why people may not have been particularly fond of the song, but I think he's going to be a really good Tom Maryland going forward, and so I was really sort of excited um to see him. And then again, Dana as the dark friend, and then you get to see Rand channel for the first time, right? And as we've been going for episodes 1 through 3, we see Egwene use the power a little bit with Moraine. We see Perrin's got this stuff going on with the wolf. You begin to see Matt being kind of a jerk and kind of weird and like he's tired and he's like really sort of angry and aggressive. And well, we saw him grab the dagger. So you get that beginning of Matt's dagger sickness. So that was cool. And then Dana was just great. Dana was amazing. People loved her, and then she went dark. And so yeah, that was super cool. And it was just such a I think a cool way to end the first night as well as end the episode. So, and then we did Perrin and Egwene meet the Tinker? I think they met the Tinkers at the end of episode 3. They were certainly on the run at and I think they just met them, but I don't think we did anything with them. And then Nynaeve and Lan, right? Moraine is injured, and we got sort of a little conversation with them there. So, but again, it was a Tom, Matt, Rand heavy episode, which I know I did kind of criticize the other, but I do feel like this one was still balanced a little better than the other one. So I think a lot of people probably have this as their number one, and I'd say it wasn't just the best episode of the season. Well, who knows to how much better season 2 is, but potentially, um, probably I would say the single best. I mean, probably the best scene of the thing. Certainly the one that was trending the most on Twitter, and that's episode 7, which is the dark along the way. So we enter the Waygate and we're going through the ways. I don't know. I thought this episode was the best. I mean, well, I'll come back and I'll talk about obviously the blood snow, but I thought the ways were handled cool. It was dark, mysterious, weird. Padan Fane's in there. You could hear the whistling. We get attacked. Everyone's hearing things. Everyone's hearing different things. Nynaeve does like a super channel again. We think that Egwene channels, but then later it comes up to be Rand. So this episode actually did with the Machin Shin, did it very well in that you thought something was happening and then they came back and changed it later. It wasn't like a fake death or anything. It was how you do things. And it comes back, oh no, it was Rand, right? It was Rand that channeled, and Rand broke down the door earlier. And I liked how they reflected back to that. We got to meet Min, which was great. We got the Lan Nynaeve romance pushed forward and expanded. And I thought that was a cute little scene with them, with Lan's, sort of family. Moiraine talking to Min, getting visions on everyone. The only thing I think, the only criticism I have of this episode was the Perrin Egwene love little thing that came up, which was, I think, threw a lot of people off. There were some other things that that Rand said. Rand made fun of Loyal when Loyal was talking in the ways. I think that should have been a Matt line. So I think you could definitely see some stuff in this episode that probably would have been handled by Barney Harris had he stayed and they last minute not changed, I think some stuff, because I think he would have obviously went with them. They did even add in the line of Moiraine saying send the Reds after Matt, right? So I felt like they actually kind of handled that well. Okay, now we're going to have it go into a different direction. And I thought even take this potential stumble in stride. And I thought it worked well. So then obviously, the big deal. I mean, well, the biggest deal was Rand being revealed as the dragon, right? But a lot of that came with obviously the opening, which was epic and the coolest action scene of the whole season. And remember that the next episode has like a big sort of Trollocs getting nuked, and episode 1 has Moiraine sort of, pulling down a building to fight Trollocs. But by far, Blood Snow was the absolute coolest thing, right? Getting to see Tigraine Mantir, Rand's mother, just wrecking people with 2 spears while she's pregnant. And then we come back to it later when Tam goes and he picks up the baby. The action scene was just an awesome cold open. Everyone was talking about it on Twitter. All you guys were in here on the live stream, hanging out, talking. We were all like, oh my God, this is awesome. Sorry, I've been speaking for 45 minutes straight. I just need a little sip of water there. And I think it was awesome. I've gone back and rewatched the episode, and that whole scene is just so cool. And it's just the episode itself was great start to finish, but then but the opening is so good that it like can even make up for like what I only felt to be maybe like one kind of flaw with the episode. And so I think that's just where I'm at on the whole deal. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about my ranking, and what do you guys have as your ranking? Let me know and leave me a comment, and I can throw it up on the screen, and we can keep taking a look. And leave me a comment down below and let me know, because I'll post this as its own separate YouTube video as well. Yeah, she was. She was played by a stunt woman, and mega expensive, never used. With mega expensive, never used on TV camera. Yeah. The only reason I put episode 7 as number 2 on my best list and not number 1 was because of the Perrin Egwene Rand CW love triangle. Yeah, that's my only. I mean, I can nitpick something with every episode, but that's where I'm at with that episode. I wonder what let me see if I can find let me see if I can find some sort of episode ratings. See, and everyone's gonna have different ratings, for each episode. I guess I'm just kind of curious to see um what people think, which ones they liked, which ones they didn't like. um I'm wondering, there's no, okay, so Rotten Tomatoes doesn't necessarily have like a full sort of, see. Okay, well, Ranker has one. Oh, well, no, they actually. So according to ranker.com, but again, you can kind of vote on stuff here. They have episode 4 as number 1, which is, I think, is a lot of people's. I think episode 4 is a lot of people's number 1. Place of Safety, which is episode 3. That's what I had as my number 2. I think a lot of people had that. Dark Along the Ways. That's number 3. Same thing. Flame of Tarvalin, they have a 4, which I had as 4 as well. Shadows Waiting, which is episode 2, as 5. Same thing with me. Blood Calls Blood. Hey, man, same thing. Geesh. Leave Taking. Oh, so they have Leave Taking all the way down here. So that was kind of the switch for me. And then they have episode 8 as the worst. Quickly, this is hard. 4, 8, 7, 3, 5, 1, 2, 6. So wait, you have. So is 6 what you think is best, or is 4? 4, 8, 7, 3, 5, 1, 2, 6. Episode 4 had the benefit of the big unexpected. Of the big unexpected. Episode 7 had that as well with Blood Snow, but since episode 4 happened at the end, left you wanting more, just like season 1. So you have 6 is the worst. Okay, so you have 4 is the best, then 8. Okay, 8, 7, 3, 5, 1, 2, 6. And don't get me wrong, episode 4 I didn't like, but I mean, I can see it. I could see somebody making an argument for any of them as to why any of them would be their favorites. I can definitely see that. Because I mean, again, there was still stuff I liked in episode 8. The Shan-Chan showing up at the end was kind of cool. Like the nuclear blast thing was kind of cool. Throw in both versions of Winter Dragon. My God, I don't know, man. It might be better than episode 8 for me, at least. I mean, for some people. Yeah, the first time seeing Logain was special. I agree with that. Seeing Logain was a ton of fun. It was like, and I'm glad. I actually am glad that they are bringing Logain in earlier and sort of building that. Uh, building that up earlier, I think is cool. I think it's I think it's super cool. Dusty Wheel has Winter has Winter Dragon top episode. Let me see, what does he have? You do a doesn't I don't see like a particular ranking, but maybe he's just done talked about it or something. Yeah, I agree. Logan was huge backstory like to Crane, but more powerful. Yeah. And again, I even though, I think a lot of people didn't like episode 8, I do overall I very much enjoyed the season. There, only one episode I didn't like. And season 2, you get a lot of things, right? It's not going to be as impacted by COVID. It's not going to be as impacted because remember they were filming that like March of 2020, and that's when like everything started shutting down, all of that stuff. So so, I mean, all of that stuff that happened when COVID first hit and the initial shutdown and everything, that's when they were sort of filming. So can't even have you only have certain people on set and all this stuff, certain number of people. So it won't have season 2 won't have that since obviously there's a lot less COVID restrictions with vaccines and everything. And then also you're not going to have a cast member leave. Probably a bigger budget, and now you have stuff already built, and you can also reflect on what people liked and what people didn't like. So I expect season 2 to be a lot better. I mean, I just watched season 2 of The Witcher and I thought it was way better than season 1. So cool. Well, all right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for coming and hanging out. Sort of a prop to hang out. Ez and I will be back next week when he gets back from vacation. But Ryan, who's been doing all these live streams and us live streams, we will be going live Wednesday, same time as we normally do, which is 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, over on our Star Wars channel, Hyperspace Hangout. So if you guys want to come over there and check that out, you certainly can. And we will be talking about the Book of Boba Fett, the first episode, which comes out that day. So one comment here, and then I'm gonna roll out here. I want to see speculation on what episode 8, the Matt situation, all the other moves mean for season 2. I'm looking at narrative charts. I agree. I am very curious to see how that was impacted, and so we can with 7 and 8 and see just what that caused and where do we go from there. So awesome. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for coming in, hanging out, and leave me a comment below if you guys think about it, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video just talking about all of our viewers and you guys, the community, what episodes were your favorites and why. You can just even just rank them, and maybe I'll kind of pull them all together into some sort of poll and see, so we can see which episodes were everyone's favorite. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Come hang out with us Wednesday over on Hyperspace Hangout if you guys want to watch Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett, and talk about that. 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. And as always, remember that the grave is no bar to our call.